Last season, the Oklahoma City Thunder barely made the play-in, finishing the season 4-6 in their last 10 games, ending up with a record below 500, 40 and 42, 10 seed. And that was simply because they were too young, just trying to figure everything out, trying to get these guys to gel. And it was okay because they were so young and had that potential. But even when you watched them last year, you knew that the potential that they had was at a level that was essentially overwhelming. And as we progress into this season, it sort of showed itself because they've been playing at a level that is so good. Like coming into the season, ranked 18th in the power rankings, you would expect this to be another development year, trying to get these guys back and into the groove of things, trying to get them settled. And next season would be the season where they properly like go for a deep playoff run and even contend. But they're 22-9 over the course of 2-3 months. What's it been? Yeah, this is third month, and they're the fourth best team in the league, a second behind the Timberwolves in the West. And it's safe to say these guys exceeded those expectations and have sort of looped themselves into contender conversations earlier. And personally, I don't I don't think a lot of people actually expected them to do this. Unless you're like a diehard OKC fan, you saw this coming from the jump. You saw Shea becoming an elite defender, and you saw J Dub enhancing his overall game. And you saw Chet coming in and being a stud immediately. And I don't think a lot of people actually expected that. A lot of people expected them to be good, but me, I expected them to be at best a fifth or fourth seed and make a another play in push. But god damn, these guys are good. They're balling out of their minds, and like I just gotta give it to what's their guy's name over there, Sam Presti. He's made a hell of a basketball team, bro. These guys are good. Like they're getting it done on all ends. They're sixth in offensive and defensive rating, third best in net rating, fourth best in points per game and effective field goal, first in opponent shooting percentage, sixth in offensive efficiency, and have the seventh tied most clutch wins, which is surprising considering how young this team is. And that a lot of younger teams struggle with this aspect of the game. But these guys have just like figured it out and are playing at a level that is so much more mature than they should be. And it's it's on the back of Shea. Like Shea, a lot of people expected him to jump at a crazy level this season. And I don't know how much you can expect to how big of a jump you can expect to make when you're averaging 31 points a game. But this guy is built on top of that. He's averaging 31 again, but with an extra assist, rebound, steal. He leads the league in steals, in fact, 2.6 a game. That's something to behold of. Like tip your hat, man. And he's doing it more efficiently, 54% from the field. His 3 point percentage has dropped a little bit, but I'm sure he'll get that up as the course of the season goes. But he's playing at a level that I did not expect, and a lot of people did not. Like top seven, top five, you can make the case for player in the league right now. And then you got J Dub, who's having a phenomenal sophomore year. I mentioned him earlier. 18, 4, and 4 right now. 52% from the field, 41 from three. Crazy numbers. An elite defense. Speaking of defense, you got the paint locked up by Shet, bro. He's a stud. He's averaging 18, almost 18 and 8, 2.7 blocks. Like I don't know how this team has got an offensive has got offensive players that are playing at a level that is they're playing at a caliber that they should not be playing at, and they got defense that is looming and great as well. Speaking of defense, you got Lou Dort. Like he's a great perimeter defender. Who else is on this team? I didn't mention Josh Giddey. He's having a bit of a down season. I was like 16 last season. I think he's at like a 12 or 11 right now. But uh, that's that's okay because they got so many other players uh to keep the boat afloat. Uh, so it's good, but I'm sure he'll get that a bit up. But I'm not concerned, even though he's had a substantial drop. But I think the Thunder are gonna ship him off at like the deadline. He's like the odd man out. But even despite him kind of throwing a little bit, he's still playing at a decent enough level and a serviceable level. Like a lot of their other players, like Cason Wallace, their rookie. He's been real nice, man. Isaiah Joe, he's a sniper. Like once he gets it going, it's hard to stop that guy. Um, who else is on this team? Oh yeah, Kenrich Williams. Kenrich Williams, he's 29 or something like that, and he's one of the team's only vets. It's absurd that this team is playing with Kenrich Williams as a veteran and making it all work. No disrespect to Kenrich Williams, he was a great player. In fact, I read a stat about him a few days ago. He was shooting like 46% from three. I don't know how sustainable that is, but regardless, that's something amazing. Considering that we're 2 months into the season, 2 3 months into the season, and then who? What else do you have on this team? You got other guys like Jalen Williams, like the other one, big guy. He's been solid. He gets limited minutes, but when he does play, he's nice. Aaron Wiggins, solid player for them. And this team is deep, bro. And then you could like think about how good this team can be if they were to package some of these pieces and some of their like picks and get someone like maybe a Pascal Siakam. He got some playoff experience if they're truly trying to contend this season. Kyle Kuzma could be a solid player. Of course, Laurie Markkanen is who you is a main guy. I mean, the main guy would have been OG before he was traded. Great trade by the Knicks to get him, and now he's off. I saw him fitting with the Thunder really well. Being another player, being like an upgrade of Lou Dort, and but obviously he's off the trade market. So you're looking at these other guys, like even Jeremy Grant could be solid for them. Um, we'll talk more about that later. With this, but like you look at this team and you see them essentially skyrocket themselves into contender conversations, which begs the question: can they win it all this season? And personally, that's all going to come down to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in the playoffs. Phenomenal player right now, but the question is, can he translate that into the postseason? I mean, not the postseason, the playoffs. The postseason starts to play in two completely different things. He's been in the playoffs before, but it wasn't. He was robbed of the proper experience considering that it was the bubble. So I'm not going to count that. So it's going to be little to none playoff experience from him and Lou Dort. And then I don't think besides that this team has anyone else who's been in the playoff. Maybe I'm forgetting the older guys. Like I don't even think they got that many older guys. Of course, Kenrich Williams is one of their vets. The oldest player I think on that roster, top of my head, is Davis Bertans, and he's like 31 or 32. So I don't know what you can expect from this team if they were to make the playoffs. So I don't think we should put expectations on them to be in the playoffs because this is going to be their first season. So we can't really analyze how we can't really analyze their Shea's prior performances in the playoffs because, like I said, he's only made it once, and that was in the bubble season. And um, the bubble season, no fans, so you were robbed of the proper atmosphere. And then, even though the basketball was great, but yeah, it's going to be at a lesser extent. That's not going to count too much. So if this team so as this team hasn't tasted the playoffs, we can't really expect them to do much. So I don't think it's going to be fair to place and like put this team into those conversations to be contenders yet. I mean, they can be in those contender conversations, but I don't think it's realistic for them to win the championship because of the lack of. And so I think this season, when they make the playoffs and play whoever, uh, if they were to make a deep run, I would be highly impressed. And I'm saying that like my opinion matters to these guys, but like it would be. very impressive nonetheless because they are going into this completely blind, almost blind. And so this season would just simply be like um, would be like a taste of what's there, and next season they could truly contend. But regardless of that, if they do think that this is their time and this is the start of their window, and then they could capitalize this season because they think the league is wide open, which is it's not because the Celtics are coming, the Bucks are keeping it, are sort of like getting everything back, like 8-2 in their last 10. The Sixers, of course, Joel playing at another MVP level, and that's the East. The West is even crazier, man. Clippers, they're piecing everything together. Paul George, Kawhi, Harden, all look real good together. Of course, you got the defending champions of the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and Cat and Rudy Gobert have been playing amazing basketball over there in Minnesota. Who else? Luca. You always got to be scared of that guy in the playoff, man. And then you got the Warriors and Suns. They got players that you cannot like discount. So this team, if they truly think that this can be one of the seasons where they could contend, they would have to be uh, buyers at the trade deadline, and so that makes that sort of like gets things more intriguing because of how much depth and the picks that they have. What can they do? Of course, I mentioned all these guys earlier, but obviously the one that you want is Larry Markkinen. And despite him not having enough playoff experience, firepower is a real thing. And if you have enough of it, you can take yourselves into higher conversations and go up with these. You can take yourselves into these conversations and put yourselves truly as contenders, like top of the list. Um, and I think that will be helpful in the playoffs because it could take away from Shea's load because when they make it, whoever they're playing against, they're gonna be number one assignment is gonna be Shea Gillis Alexander. Whoever their best defender is, whoever the team's best defender is, they're gonna put him on. They're gonna put him on Shea, and so you would need someone to like take the load off. And J Dub, this is his first time. Chet, his first time. You would want someone who's a proven scorer. Of course, Laurie hasn't made the playoffs. I said that before, but um, he could relieve some pressure. And then of course, like I mentioned, Pascal and Jeremy Grant, Kyle Kuzma, who I don't think Kuzma made the playoffs. Oh yeah, of course he made the playoffs. He won something. But of course that was in the bubble. Does he have any other experience besides that? I don't know, but all these guys have could be good scorers and could take some of that pressure off and be reliable in this in the playoffs. Other players that they can get. I sort of like looked at their turnovers. Like you need to contain them in the playoffs. Of course, they're 11th in the league, which is not bad at all. They're in the top half of the league. But to get them into that upper echelon, you need like these guards that could you need these guards that can take the ball away from Shea and create for other people. Shea and Giddy, of course, they are great, but you to get a secondary ball handler or even a primary ball handler, so these guys could get open and have some off-ball movement, would be great. And I'm thinking of like on the top of my head, Mike Conley, Kyle Lowry, these guys proven players that can proven players in the playoffs that can pass a bit, that could help get rid of this team's sloppy turnovers. Just a thought, though. I don't know how expendable, how they could truly get them because I know Kyle Lowry, he's making like 30 million. So I guess you would wait for free agency for him. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike Conley is also a free agent. But then yeah, you wouldn't trade for them. You would just pick them up in free agency for the low. Kyle Lowry's 37. Mike Conley's 36 or something like that too. So of course these guys would give them that veteranship that I think they do need. So you could pick them up and they could help you. So just do that in the off season if they don't retire. They're old, bro. But I think they could be serviceable at the same time. But overall, regardless of how good this team has been, I just think it's too early for them to win a championship. But I wouldn't be surprised if they made a deep playoff run and even do the incredible, because this team has proven themselves as a team that could get these wins over these big teams. Like I remember on the top of my head, who did they beat this season? They beat the Nuggets, they beat the T Wolves, they beat the Lakers. Another team you gotta look out for in the West. They did beat the Clippers, the Warriors. They beat them like 3 times on the season. The Mavs. These guys have all fallen to the Thunder, and these are like signature wins for them, like statement victories, quality wins. So when you have these guys, so when you have these wins, it like not only boosts the confidence of the team, it gives them that feeling that they can do it in a um, more high risk situation. So to wrap everything up, do I think this team? Do I think this is their year? No, but would I be surprised if they make a playoff run to the conference finals, even the finals, and despite all these factors, win it all? Could they win it all? Would I be surprised if they do that? No, again, this team has legitimate title contending pieces. Although I do think that they are young, they got players that an every championship winning team has, and they got those players that are up to the pedigree, like a top 7 player in the league, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, elite rim defender. You got Chet over there, exceptional perimeter defenders, Lou Dort, J Dub. Um, they have a lack of veteranship, but I do think if this team makes something at the deadline, picks up some players that could be helpful, like even Chetty Osman, good guy over there. He could be nice for them. They could do that. And overall, this team is exceptional. Gets everything done. They got players that with finesse to get to their spot, know how to score at will, and get are in those passing lanes, know how to defend. The question is just, can they put it all together? And to answer that, well, the answer to that is just we'll just have to wait for that. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I have high hopes for the Thunder. Of course, I don't think they're gonna win it all, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. And that's gonna be the end of this. Thank you for listening, and bye bye. Happy New Year once again.